All right, welcome. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me for this explainer today, because we're tackling what I honestly consider the ultimate toolkit for curing business chaos. We're looking at strategic management and planning. You know, if you've ever felt this massive disconnect between those grandiose, perfect visions discussed in the corporate boardroom and the actual boots-on-the-ground reality delivered to your customer, well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to break down exactly how successful companies actually bridge that gap.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going on a macro to micro journey today. We'll start with 1, the strategy hierarchy, move into 2, grading your portfolio, then 3, bridging the gap, and finally land on the front lines with 4, the 7 Ps of execution.
Section 1. The strategy hierarchy.
So, to really understand strategic planning, we have to look at the whole organization from the top down. Imagine your corporation is this massive ship, right? And the corporate boardroom is the bridge. The decisions made on the bridge literally have to cascade downward perfectly, or the whole ship goes completely off course. At the very top, you've got the corporate strategic plan. This is where the overarching mission is defined and where the big money, the capital allocation, happens. Then, one step down, we have the strategic business unit, or SBU, plan. Here, the focus shifts. It's about defining specific business domains and laying out competitive strategies. And finally, at the functional level, we hit the marketing plan, which gets into the nitty-gritty details and handles the day-to-day tactics of actually reaching the customer.
Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is an SBU? It's a great question. See, companies way too often describe their business just by the physical things they make. But, as the brilliant economist Theodore Levitt argued, a business absolutely must be viewed as a customer-satisfying process, not just a goods-producing process. It's a huge distinction. An SBU is a specific, self-contained unit that's assigned strategic planning responsibilities with that exact customer focus in mind.
To put that into perspective, look at how the priorities shift. Corporate strategy is all about the 10,000-foot view, building core competencies, shaping the corporate culture, and making massive, high-level capital investments. But when you look over at the SBU strategy, the language totally changes. It becomes highly focused on defining the specific business, developing a true competitive advantage, and managing very specific resources so you can actually win in a particular product market.
Section 2, grading your business portfolio. Once we understand that hierarchy, we transition into what I kind of like to call the war room. This is where corporate management evaluates their current fleet of SBUs to decide exactly where they should be investing their hard-earned capital. A classic, super effective tool for this is the GE Business Screen. It maps industry attractiveness against business strength. The logic is elegantly simple. If either your market's attractiveness or your own internal business strength is weak, your company is just not going to produce outstanding results. No way around it. By plotting their SBUs on this grid, corporate leadership can make those ruthless but completely necessary decisions on whether to build, hold, harvest, or divest a specific unit.
All right, moving at a slightly more granular level, we have the famous BCG product portfolio matrix. While the GE grid looks at entire SBUs, the BCG matrix is used down at the product market level to see if your overall portfolio is balanced. By mapping market growth rate against relative market share, you can categorize your products into 4 very distinct areas: stars, cash cows, question marks, and dogs.
Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast between a cash cow and a dog. A cash cow operates in a low-growth market, sure, but it holds a massive market share. It just churns out reliable capital you can use to fund your promising stars and question marks. A dog, however, has low growth and low share. It's just a resource drain. I want you to actually think about your current daily project at work right now. Are you feeding a reliable cash cow, or are you trying to teach a dog new tricks?
Section 3, bridging the strategic gap.
So, let's step out of the war room and into the map room. We've evaluated our current portfolio, right? But what happens when maintaining your current operations simply isn't going to be enough to meet the corporation's ambitious long-term goals? I want to just pause here and let this rather terrifying business reality sink in for a second. You do the math, you look at your forecasts, and you realize even if absolutely everything goes perfectly with your current products, you are still going to fall short of your future desired sales. This is exactly the moment that requires serious strategic intervention.
This shortfall we're talking about is officially known as the strategic planning gap. You've got your projected sales on a no-change strategy hovering down here, and high above that, your future desired sales. If this gap exists, and it usually does, management has a clear mandate. They must plan to either aggressively develop new businesses internally or go out and acquire them externally to fill this void.
Let's look at how this builds into actionable strategy. Enter Ansoff's Growth Vector Matrix. Think of this as the ultimate survival guide for closing that strategic gap. It maps out growth opportunities based on whether you're targeting present or new markets, with present or new products. It's basically a giant puzzle that gives you 4 distinct paths to grow: penetrating your current market deeper, developing a brand new market, creating new products, or total diversification.
Now, while all 4 of those paths are super valuable, it is absolutely crucial to note that diversification is the major wildcard here. Moving into entirely new markets with completely new products represents the absolute highest risk growth option. It's a huge leap. But when a company needs massive profit improvement and simply cannot get there with their existing assets, stepping out into the unknown through diversification becomes a strategic necessity.
Section 4. The 7 Ps of Execution.
All right, we've planned, we've analyzed the portfolio, we've found our growth opportunities. Now, we hit the front lines. This is where high-level corporate strategy actually turns into tangible, undeniable customer value through the marketing plan. But we run into a very modern challenge here. As the source material acutely points out, services are mostly intangible. You can't always hold a modern product or service in your hand, right? And because of this, those traditional 4 Ps of marketing you learned about, product, price, place, and promotion, well, they just aren't always enough to measure and deliver real satisfaction anymore.
To solve this, we rely on the extended marketing mix, better known as the 7 Ps. We absolutely keep the core 4, product, price, placement, and promotion, but we add 3 vital components specifically for the service economy: people, process, and physical evidence. This expanded mix is the precise toolkit used to ensure that the grandiose corporate plan we discussed way back at the start actually meets the target customer effectively.
So the crucial point is this. Strategy isn't just a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet. It's deeply, deeply human. People interacting with people is honestly how almost all service situations can be described today. In high-contact services, customers are directly involved in the process alongside you. Relationships, genuine human interaction, and the physical evidence of a job well done, these are absolutely vital to any modern marketing strategy.
To bring it all home, the final execution phase operates in 3 straightforward steps. First, you define your target customers, based on that overarching SBU strategy we talked about. Second, establish your intended positioning in their minds. How do you want them to see you? And third, deploy those 7 Ps we just covered to execute. This is exactly how marketing takes direction from the corporate strategic plan to create, maintain, and fiercely defend customer value.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today's explainer. I want you to look at your own calendar tomorrow. Seriously, look at it. Are your daily tasks actually creating customer value on the front lines, or are you just perpetually planning up on the bridge of the ship? Remember, strategic management only works when the blueprint actually becomes reality. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep turning those grand visions into real-world value.